Namatu Ratana Tayasa. May I pay homage to Triple Gem, the Buddha, Dhamma and the Sangha. My respect goes to my parents and my teachers. So today is Saturday the 20th of June. This is Achan Sujan from Warapunya Meditation Center, Aberdeen, Scotland. So this is our ongoing our ongoing evening talk and reflections on the different topics and different issues. Hello everyone. Hello Margaret, Manish and everyone. I hope you're having a good time this weekend. Lovely day. It's a little bit warmer, but also still it's very windy. Even at the center it's really windy today, and at the center we are all very busy, particularly busy with the renovation of the barn that's going on smoothly. Achan Pira is there full time, and I am just dropping in and helping big jobs and then letting him do rest. So most of the time, I will go and help only hour or two, or sometimes half a day, and then I will do preparation for the teachings and some other documents that I have to take responsibility, and also talking to people, counseling, welcoming, all sorts of things. And this weekend today I'm feeling like very sore, what is called numbness all around myself, and the sleepiness going on in me. But I have no choice. It's status in a way, being an abbot, main person. So everything will be joined here and need to think and then make decisions. So it's not an easy job to do. And in the meantime, so many emotions and so many feelings that I have to deal with. And I wonder my own feelings, whom should I go and express and feel comfortable, so people have somewhere to go and pour all those stress and all those emotions, but after I got it, I wonder whom should I go and do it. I remember about 6-7 years ago, when I was feeling very down and so many problems, then I normally go to a walk along the beach in Aberdeen, and we'll talk to the sea and chant and talk and chant and talk. That's how I deal with my feelings, emotions. But as grow in this path, gradually become more harder and harder, but fortunately meditation helped me significantly to deal with these emotions and feelings. And every time when I have some different feelings and different emotions arises, so fascinating to watch my own mind and my own thoughts, and how it arises and how it reacts, and how these things connect to these emotions and feelings. Sometimes I watched it. It's like a water bubbles just began to create under the beneath of the water, and it just slowly coming out of the out of the water to the surface. And when you watch that, I feel so relieved, and it's so calm and so interesting to watch. And I believe this is because a regular practice that helped me to watch these emotions and these feelings as they arise, an ability to deal with that. So that's why I would invite you all that do not give up your practice, whether it is little by little, maybe 5 minutes a day, do it every day, and you will see when the situation comes, you will be able to detect and enjoy and relax in those emotions and those feelings when they occur. Obviously we cannot fix everything, and obviously we cannot prevent from having those feelings and emotions, and when they come, it's up to us how to deal with that. So that's why keep practicing, and you will see the benefit of it definitely, without a doubt. So my encouragement is with you at all the time. Right, yesterday I began talking on the hindrances, which is the obstacles for the progress in the practice of a meditation, and as well as it hinders our achievement in the liberation. Basically it blinds us, like suddenly all the darkness arises. Suppose we are walking in the evening and there was a light, and suddenly electricity off, and that moment what happens is suddenly everything darks, blinds us. And the hindrances is like that. Suddenly our practice comes into the darkness and unable to focus on, or sometimes it is also known as like you are blazing your torch against the wind, or you are basically going into the flood of it. And that also it prevents from attaining so-called the neighborhood concentration or upachara samadhi. And once we cannot achieve the upachara samadhi, basically we cannot achieve this so-called the attained concentration or attainment of concentration, or appana samadhi, which is the absorption state. And basically that also hinders us not to be able to see clearly things as they truly are. And in this hindrances or so-called nivaranas, it's divided into 5 that I have mentioned yesterday. So there's essential pleasure, ill will, sensual pleasure, ill will, sloth and torpor, distractions or restlessness, and doubts. So these are the 5 hindrances that we normally face when we practice meditation. So today I'm going to speak on the first hindrance, that is the kāmacchanda. And before going into talking that, first of all, I would like to extend my appreciation and thanks to the kids, especially Liara and Inara. Those 2 girls have taken some money from their piggy bank to offer for the renovation of the barn, converting it into the meditation hall. So it's very kind of both of them, generously taking out from their piggy bank and offering to the center for the renovation of the barn. And then there is another 2 children, one is Matthew and Elsa. Today came up to the center and offer some money towards the barn renovation as well. So thank you. And Nida and also her friend Rat also donated few pounds towards this renovation of the barn. So if any one of you would like to contribute towards this project, you're most welcome, and hopefully we will be able to have this barn done by this summer, and we'll be going to use it for this meditation, and particularly this good time because this of the coronavirus, we need to have this so-called the safe distance measurements to use as we perform the meditations and even the chantings. So that's why we hopefully will get that done as soon as possible. Right, so kāmacchanda. Kāmacchanda. Kama means the sensual, chanda means the desire. But popularly translated it as a kāmacchanda means essential pleasure. Basically, kāmacchanda is like entertainment of our senses, entertaining our senses, or indulging our senses, and that's why the kāmacchanda basically means, rather than helping us to liberate, or rather than helping us to understand things as they truly are, it is basically taking us to the mainstream of entertainment, or indulging into so-called this senses, and unable to see what is what. And the Buddha used the simile. I wrote here. It is like that. The Buddha used the simile of the water mixed with the colors. Yeah. And water mixed with the colors, then we cannot see what is what. Even the color, different colors. So we cannot pinpoint that this is red or green, or we cannot know that this is what color is made of. So that kind of a sensual pleasure is in the mind. And the classical example I normally give to understand this kāmacchanda is that when we come for a meditation, we have to sit hard, and also you have to motivate yourself to be in a center at least for 1 hour. So 1 hour is basically you're doing nothing, physically doing nothing, but you're doing a lot. However, our mind is such that we have been so programmed that we are working every day non-stop, and when things are not done, or when there is nothing to do, at that moment we feel like it's not worth doing. So and what happens is, when you come to meditation, then you normally feels that, oh, wish I am at home, watching the telly, or sitting on a beautiful couch, or even sitting at the beach, having a glass of wine, or a cup of tea, enjoying the scenery, like that. So basically, these we can see are the pulling us away from the mental practice. And the kāmacchanda also comes with the kāma raganusaya, kāma tanha, and kāmupadana. Kāma raganusaya basically means this: we normally have the sensual lust, and because of the sensual lust that we already have from the day one we born, we normally wants to engage into the consumption. We normally wants to do it again and again. It's like children, teenage, not only teenage, but the majority in the present day are indulged or excessively playing game. So it is constantly going into that, and unable to disconnect from that game. And that's also another simile is the sex, and never fulfills the sex, always needing more and more, and that is also known as the craving for the sensuality. And the more than that is a kāmupadana, means the attachment to that sensual pleasure. And upadana, basically, there are 4 types of upadana that we grasp, we cling on to. Now we cling on to our sensual pleasures. We cling on to or grasp onto our views. We cling onto the the rules and regulation that we have, and also we cling onto the doctrine of a self that I am exist. Among these, the first one is the sensual pleasure, which is the greater one. And attachment or the sensual pleasure is such that it always takes us to find something more better than just sitting and meditation. Just sitting and meditation. And here the simile was given in Buddhism that it's like a dog is having this meatless bones, and it will not satisfy a dog. Doesn't matter how long the dog is biting for, the hunger never ends, and that is the sensual pleasure. And another simile, that suppose you have a bird has got a piece of meat and about to eat, but suddenly another bigger or stronger bird comes and snatch it away, and the first bird has to give it away simply for the safety and security of itself, because another bird is more stronger than it. And sensual pleasure is also like images in our dreams that is not true, but that exists. The most classical example that I can remember and I have noted here is that something that we have borrowed and we are using it. So as long as we have got it, and the owner of that is not come back and take it back, we can rejoice it. But once it's gone, and once the owner comes and take it, then we cannot entertain, or we cannot rejoice in that anymore. So that's why the sensual pleasure is something that is borrowed for temporarily, and that basically to entertain our five senses. And when we look at this entertainments of our senses, the sensual pleasure is the main root cause of all the problems that we can see, the quarreling, conflict, and so and so. That's why in Dhammacakkappavattana Sutra, the Buddha said, the second noble truth, that Nandi raga sahagatang tatra tatra bhinantini, which means that when one is entertained with the sensual lust, and he will grasp on that, and with that grasping he indulges in it, and as a result that's become the cause of a trouble. And kāmacchanda arises, the desire to sensual pleasure, sensual existence arises, and bhavatanha, existence, desire to exist, and vibhavatanha, desire not to exist, will occur. So that's why the very moment when we have these, will be the main root cause of all the troubles. And that's why the practice of Buddhism is simply to understand these essential pleasures, not allowing our senses to indulge in that sensual pleasures. And now, when we look at this, Buddha also said that kāmacchanda is known as the negative desire, but it's a chanda, and a tanha is the positive desire. So tanha is also negative desire, and a desire is such that takes us to the cycle of a birth and a death. Whereas another word is known as the kusala dhamma chanda, which is the wholesome desire. And a wholesome desire is like a thought of a wholesome, a thought of a good, a desire towards the goodness, and wish for the harmonious and a harmony, and also a wish to understand cause and conditionality. Whereas chanda or kāmacchanda is basically based on the greed, and based on the greed that wanting to be, wanting to have, wanting to know, sort of like that. And it here says greed focuses on indulge sense objects, and it reinforces a sense of self. So this greed is basically, we want to see beautiful things, we want to hear a nice sound, nice voice, kind words, and we want to see beautiful sceneries, comfortable beds, nice food, and these are basically the gratifying our senses. So the more we gratified in these worldly matters, then basically we are in this sensual pleasure, and we cannot come out from this thought of this kāmacchanda, or the sensual pleasure, or basically we are looking for the sensual gratification or personal gratification. So it's more of developing this ego, generates more and more. But in a practice of a meditation or Buddhism, basically means the first practice is to understand that I am having this kāmacchanda. Yeah, I am having this. The first practice is we are suppressing this kāmacchanda by knowing that this is there. Now I want to suppress it, so not allowing it to, take control. In Vipassana meditation, when we practice, we are instructed to know that when eye sees, just see. Yeah, there's no color, no shape, nothing. So-called ditte dittamattang. So when you see, just see it. Sutte suttamattang. When you see, just see it. Nothing more than that. And the story behind this, one of the ascetic wanted to learn meditation from the Buddha, and when Buddha was on arms around, normally he doesn't give teachings. But on that day, because his request for so many times, Buddha reflected his qualities and realized that his lifespan is so short, and as a result, the Buddha simply gave him a very short discourse on ditte dittamattang. When you see, just see. Sutte suttamattang. When you hear, just hear. And there is no hear is you and hearing is not you. And with that, everything is impermanent. And when he understood that, he was liberated. But we see so many things, and momentarily we may feel bored because of the environment, but again we can go back again. And the same thing with the hearing. So that's the reason we are not enlightened. That's why we are still indulged in it, sensual pleasure. So, but the very moment when these kāmacchanda, the sensual pleasures, are suppressed, then that moment we will get the calmness of the mind, serenity of the mind. And as I said yesterday, and there is also, I have quoted here, says, if you want to attain the first jhana, it is secluded from sensual desire, sensual pleasures, and secluded from unwholesome thoughts. One enters upon the first jhana. So first, what we have to do is to seclude from the sensual pleasure to attain the first jhana. And the seclusion is simply the suppression. And again here further it says, the mind overwhelmed by sensual lust is like a bowl of water mixed with lac, turmeric, green dye or red dye, hard to see clearly which is what. Yeah. So when we are in what's called influence of this sensual pleasure, then normally we cannot make a right decision. We become a bias. We want to consume. We want to have for ourselves. Become a more egoistic nature. We personalize more, and we focus on ourselves, individual, and also always looking for the gratification. And we can see there are so many examples that people think of their own self and gratification, or own self success, will not think of any common sense of human nature. And as a result, there is always conflict at work, conflict at home, conflict at brothers and sisters. So there's constantly fight going on, brother and sister fight, brothers are fighting, sisters are fighting, family children are fighting with parents, parents are fighting with the children, house after house, neighbors are fighting each other, and these all simply based on trying to gratify themselves, that need this and need that. And with that is the main root cause of all the troubles. As a result of that, practice of a meditation, first practice is to suppress it. So by suppressing, we will develop our mental strength, and once we have developed mental strength, and later we simply open our senses and allowing it to happen, allowing it to see it. And when we see them as they are, we will be able to uproot all these these sensual pleasures. We will not be indulge when we see something. We simply aware as it happens. When eye comes to contact with the eye objects, we simply notice that, oh, this is this. When we hear something, ear consciousness comes to contact with the sound, simply note it as, okay, I hear the sound. Not listening, but hearing, not watching, just seeing, like that. And even a smell, when it comes to the smells, we just see the odor, smell the odor, not what is, which brand is that. And when something comes to contact with our body as well, we simply keep it for the safety of our body, not for the beautification or fattening, or to express our wealth or prosperity, like that. So, and the last one, it says, when one dwells with a mind from sensual desire, and one understand as it really is, the escape from arising of a lust will arise. So that's what very moment when our senses comes to contact with these five senses, then we do not generate any cravings, we do not generate any grasping, any desire, and we basically observe them as they truly are. Then the sensual desires or sensual pleasures will just go off. The kāmacchanda will just die out. When kāmacchanda died, then basically we have attained either anagami, the third level of a noblehood, or the arahats. So this is not a small job to do. It's like a high-end job to eradicate this kāmacchanda. And in this, there we have to define a few things in here, that whatever we do out of just sustain of our life for the spiritual development, rather than thinking that whatever we do just to get the comfortable in this life. Think of the security, not only this life but also to the next life. And with that, whatever we do, we will do with a kindness and compassion for ourselves and then to others. And then the whole essential pleasures, we will be able to come out. We will be able to overcome from that sensual pleasure that taking us into the cycle of a birth and a death. So, summarize, the kāmacchanda is one of the hardest one and one of the greatest the tools that takes us to the cycle of a birth and a death, and this is the one of the first hindrances that we may have to face when we start meditating, and that we have to suppress by having a strong concentration on an object. An undivided attention has been applied to pay attention to the object. With this, the kāmacchanda will suppress and will attain the jhanas. And the second stage, that we simply know that itself, the kāmacchanda, and we will uproot it by clearly knowing it and able to let it be. So I end this tonight with this. May you be happy, peaceful, and stay safe. Take care. In a few minutes time we will have chanting and guided meditation. You're most welcome to join with us. Until then, good night and see you shortly. Thank you.